here tonight with Cindy Johnson, who is our owner, a physical therapist, and I don't know, what else are you? Like you're all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So just kind of as background so that everyone knows, TherapyWorks has been operating for 27 years in, is that right?
Maybe, actually, it might even be 28.
27, 28 years in Lawrence, Kansas. So you guys have been around for a while. And you were a physical therapist for a little while before that, but most of your career has really been TherapyWorks. So, there are a lot of physical therapists in Lawrence, and most of them either work at a clinic or work at a hospital. But you decided to go ahead and start your own clinic. So what inspired you to start your own therapy clinic? Why do it?
It was quite an adventure. I was taking our regular morning walk that I've taken with my husband for 33 years. And we were just dreaming. We were dreaming about all the things that could be wonderful for the community we were in, and how I had seen things in the past at different communities where I had worked, and how I really didn't see that quite existing yet in Lawrence, with a facility of physical therapy that also had a place where you could have a wellness center and a full line of workout equipment, as well as getting physical therapy and massage. And so my husband looked at me, Chris said, why don't you just create that? Why don't you open your own practice? And my jaw dropped to the sidewalk. And after I picked it up, we had a mile back to the house, and over that mile of the rest of that walk, we kind of put it together and took some baby steps and just said, okay, well, we could do all these things. And if that all works, then yes, we'll open up. So that was the start of it. It was 5:30 in the morning, taking a morning walk. Some of the best ideas are that way.
I don't think I make any decisions at 5:30 in the morning. That's a early start, but worth it. It sounds like.
It's the one time that we knew, especially when we started our marriage and he was in graduate school, it was the one time that we've always known that when neither of us are tied up with some other commitment or another committee meeting or, different things that we needed to do. So we just started out early, and we actually got that tip from his parents, who had done that through their marriage, and said, it's the one way to really stay connected and make sure that you're communicating every day. So that's what we've always done.
Yeah, absolutely. So 27 years ago, that was 1994.
Actually, that was in, we started in 94. I actually was developing the company in 1993.
Okay. So yeah, sorry, didn't mean to rob you of a year there.
It's okay. It's all right. I had looked back at when we had incorporated, and we actually incorporated in 1993. But I started actually seeing patients in January of 1994.
All right. So anyway, 1993, 1994, it, was better than the 50s for women, but, women starting businesses, and particularly starting businesses in a field like healthcare, or, where especially like the startup costs tend to be kind of higher for something like healthcare. What was your experience being a woman doing that back in 1993?
It's really funny. I never, you wear a t-shirt in Lawrence, we wear a KU t-shirt, and people say rock chalk, and you have to remember that you're wearing a KU t-shirt, and then you realize, oh, that's why they're saying that. So I never really thought about it as being just being a woman or being female or a female business owner. That really wasn't part of my concept. It was just, this is what I'm doing and where I'm going. But when I look back, my husband and I had bought a house. We kind of rented for a while, and then we bought a house and really got to know the builders. And it was Dave and Beth Reynolds from Apple Tree Homes, wonderful couple, absolutely amazing. And they have been some of my mentors as far as business ownership and getting started. And so they gave us the name of some bankers to talk to. And so I went in, and Chris and I were both there. And we went and talked with these, of course, two male, 50-something-year-old bankers. And I was 28 at the time. And, I was giving them my information and asking for a loan to start my business. And they were smiling and nodding, but not taking any notes. And they kept looking at Chris, and he kept, indicating that they should be looking at me. And, you know, he was like, this is not my deal, you know, it's hers. And so at one point they stopped and I said, well, now, you know, they were very friendly and very pleasant, but they said, well, I could tell they weren't taking me seriously. And I said, do you have a pro forma? And I said, oh, sure. And I pulled like, four of them out of my briefcase. And we had actually, now remember, this is 1994. So the printers are usually with the little holes on the side, you know, that kind of thing. But I had done it on.
We have to like turn it to rip it off.
Yes. So I had actually gone and made color copies on a laser printer with pie charts and graphs and, you know, bar charts and all this kind of thing with my pro forma for a 5-month, you know, spread, or 5-year, 5-year spread with a 1-month plan and 2-month, you know, up front. And once I passed that out and it was in a binder and everything else, and they just sat back and went, oh, okay. And they started looking through that and taking notes. And it was just really, it was one of those little tee-hee, you know, kind of moments of, yes, I am, you know, not just 28 and, you know, a hat rag is like, I know what I'm doing. I'm here. I'm serious. You know, I'm friendly, but I'm serious. So I may be young, but I know what I'm doing. So it was fun.
Wow. That's.
Yeah. Also in that meeting, when they were asking about, I think it actually was with the attorney later, and they said, okay, you're setting up, you know, you're incorporating and you're setting things up. You know, and they kept looking at Chris and saying, you know, are you going to be the president? And he said, no, she's the president. And they were like, well, are you the vice president? He goes, no, I'll be the secretary treasurer, but that's all on the board. So it's funny because I really didn't consider that. That was just part and parcel of the process. But looking back, yes, it was very much, they were looking at my husband as if he was the one that was going to be the main thing. And he's forever said, no, not my deal.
Yeah. It's like, no, he doesn't know the physical therapy.
No. Yeah. And in Kansas, you can't own the business if you're not, you know, legally a licensed professional in the business.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Back, especially when we were incorporating.
Yeah. So, you know, 27, 28 years is a while. As keeps coming up, you know, it's been going. But like, how has TherapyWorks changed over the years?
Oh, goodness. Well, when I started, it was 1,000 square feet. I had 3 treatment tables, and I think I had a treadmill and a bike and about just myself and a receptionist. And, you know, I would greet people, you know, up at the front, and I would bring them back and I would treat them. And, you know, she helped me a little bit with the billing and some of that. And, you know, it was really just the 2 of us for a while until I could hire some additional people. And you know, it was just, we just made do. And then as we added people, we just continued to make do. And after that, after that first year, we expanded from 1,000 to about 2,500 square feet. And so now when you include our current space, plus the pool space that we use with Brandon Woods that we've used since 1994, that combined is about 10,000 feet. Now I have about almost 20 staff. So it's just really grown and expanded, and it's been so wonderful. It's been an adventure, even when insurances change or the rules and regulations and healthcare change. It's all part of the adventure. So it's always been fun.
Nice. And how has your relationship with the community of Lawrence changed over the years?
You know, that was really one of my initial big goals. I named it TherapyWorks because it would be beyond just me. You know, I didn't want it to just be Cindy Johnson Physical Therapy. And I wanted to be really involved in the community. Those were kind of 2 of the very first things in setting it up that I wanted to do. And I felt like it would give me a vehicle to have a reason to be involved. And so through that time,
you needed a reason to be involved. Well, for those of you who are on our live who don't know, she is on or has been on pretty much every board I can think of, and volunteered with just about every organization at some time or another. And whether it's, you know, long-term or just for a day with the Girl Scouts, she's out there.
Yes. You know, ever since we started, I've always been a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and it's such a wonderful organization. And especially in Lawrence, I'm being part of the Envoy Committee and, you know, attending ribbon cuttings. And back in the early days, I was able to schedule around the ribbon cuttings so that if I had a patient that absolutely needed that time, then I would certainly see the patient. but it gave me a way to say, okay, block that time out and schedule all the way around it. And if I can, run out for, for the ribbon cutting, then I would, and monthly meetings and things like that for the committee. So I was able to get involved and stay involved, and I was able to do Leadership Lawrence class of 98, I believe. And then I met so many more people and just got involved in committees. I've been on the, and I got invited to be a part of the Rotary at Noontime Rotary in Lawrence. And so, and then my kids came along. And so then I was able to volunteer at Quail Run and the different schools and volunteer and be there. Two girls, I was leader for 2 Girl Scout troops and then 2 Boy Scout dens up until they bridged into Cub Scout dens until they bridged into Boy Scouts. But lead center, United Way, community theater, stepping stones, just my passion for the arts and for kids and for education and healthcare. I was part of the founding group of Live Well Lawrence, which was really exciting to watch that grow and expand. So, but just wonderful opportunities through the years.
Yeah. And, owning a business, that really does put you in the group where you can more easily join a lot of those community groups, I think.
Yes. And I've also tried to make it so that the company fulfills our mission of helping people get out of pain naturally without medications and surgery. But within that, to be able to have it allow me the flexibility and the time to get away, maybe for a lunchtime meeting, to schedule patients around that time, or to have an evening meeting or board meeting first thing in the morning and that kind of thing, so that I could do kind of do both and be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've talked a lot about how, you've been in business for a long time, but you've also been a physical therapist for a long time. So in both physical therapy and as a business owner, what have you learned in the last 27, 28 years?
It's funny. My first day on the job as a physical therapist in the hospital in Tallahassee was 8/8/88. So I can't believe it's been that many years, but back in the day, of course, nothing was computerized. Everything was charting and using, I always had 2 pens in my pocket in case one ran out. And there's just pelvic floor, for example, is a lot of what we do at TherapyWorks. And that wasn't even anything that was being taught in physical therapy school back then. So it's been things that I've learned and, clinical skills that I've achieved and attained over the years. I did a 2-year master certification in manual therapy, so that we're able to apply a lot of our manual therapy skills, at our clinic, and put it all together with the exercise home program, but also hands-on, so that we kind of bridge the gap between clinics that only do manual and clinics that only do just go at exercise. We put it all together in there. So clinically, there's been so many things. I spent many years training and learning about the golf swing, the specific biomechanical movements of the golf swing, so that I understood and was able to help golfers more, whether it was because of their back pain or just improving their skills and abilities on the course.
Very cool. There are a lot of golfers in Lawrence.
There are a lot of golfers out there.
Fair.
Great game. It's a sport for life,
It's true. And what about on the business side? What have you learned there?
Oh my goodness. When you go to physical therapy school, you have about this much in business. They have you do a project, kind of putting together a mock business, and you present it to your classmates. And sometimes it's a group project, and it maybe is 2 weeks at the most, and it's not all you're doing. You're taking other classes during that time.
2 weeks, 28 years.
Yeah. It's like 2 weeks of a several year curriculum, and it was just basically a blip. And so back in 1996, I decided to bring on some consultants that specialized in working with physical therapists. And so their angle is that they work with people to train them on the business aspects that you didn't learn in your physical therapy program.
Yeah.
And from that, I've learned so much and gone to so many courses, tried to be involved in the professional association with the private practice section. I've gone to several of those meetings and just stayed connected and tried to learn, because now I learn about the business side of things, because now it's, the treatment side, I've been doing that for so long. There's very few things that, kind of surprise me or throw me, or, where I have to do much more than just ask a lot of questions of the patient. But things on the business side, growth and expansion, obviously there's many corporations and businesses that are much larger than we are. And so there's always so much more to learn, and being able to improve, everything from customer service to, streamlining things, just everything.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that's a lot.
It makes it so that it's an ongoing adventure. There's always something to learn. And, I grew up in a family of teachers. My parents are both teachers. My husband's parents are both teachers. All of my siblings, my 3 siblings were all teachers.
Your husband's a teacher.
My husband's a teacher at KU, and so I grew up in a family of teachers. And so there was always that, dinner time conversation of that passion for learning and education. And for me, I'm a teacher because I'm able to teach people on a daily basis how to, improve their lives, be able to get rid of their pain and make their shoulder or their back or their neck work better. And make that so that I'm teaching them, but then they can take it forward.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not saying a lot. I'm just kind of absorbing, like there's so much information that you have to share, and what a story. Like,
actually one of the things that I just decided to do, and today's interesting, I turned in my book that I've written to my editor, and I just got it back. This is our first round of edits, and then I'll be doing some things and sending it back to the editor. But, after 30 years, so many of the things that I see, it's routine for me, but it's the first time that particular client or patient is hearing about it. And so I found ways to explain things, or, after having enough people look at me with a blank stare and knowing that I had to find another way to say something or explain something. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned in all these years is it's not the medical terminology that we as practitioners and clinicians, whether you're a nurse, a doctor, a physical therapist, should be using, because that doesn't always communicate with the patient. The patient the bottom line is that person needs to understand what's going on with their shoulder, their back, their neck, because they have their body 24/7. And so my book just came back today. And what it is really is a lot of things that I've said to my patients over and over, and the questions that they've asked me for 30 years about shoulders, and, how to, and the book is also about how to advocate for your own health and make sure that you're getting top-notch healthcare. And I realized at one point that because I know enough about what to ask and what certain answers mean, that I was kind of getting a different quality of healthcare than other people who didn't know those answers would be.
Yeah.
And so I attend appointments with my, parents when they were aging, or my husband's parents, or my kids certainly. And then I know to ask certain questions. And so I tried to share that in this book so that other people can learn about their shoulder, and also learn about, how to interact in the medical offices.
Yeah, sometimes it definitely does feel like, like your doctors are talking in code.
Yes.
So thank you. I'll be looking forward to your book.
Well, I'm excited. It's new. I'm a rookie, so I'm learning as I go.
Yeah. Well, I hear that your editor already has a lot of good things to say. So that's a good start.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a good start. All right.
Well, coming out in late August, probably early September. We're going to be launching.
Okay.
Late August.
Very soon. All right. So do you have anything else that you want to leave us with before we sign off?
I just think I wanted to share the mission of TherapyWorks.
Please.
People. Our purpose is to get people out of pain naturally, to find that underlying cause and quickly handle the situation, and then educate them so that they can get out of pain without needing any unnecessary surgery or medication. But the bigger view is that I know that everybody that comes into our clinic, it's this fabric of Lawrence. And when we first came to Lawrence, and when I went through Leadership Lawrence, I mean, you keep learning about all these amazing things that are happening and how wonderful our community is. And at the end of the day, I look in the mirror and it's, what have you done today to make it better? And I know that I'm not going to be maybe the city commissioner. I'm not going to be the soccer coach. I'm not going to be, several of the roles that these people in our community hold, but all those roles and positions and activities are so important, and they're part of that whole fabric. And they may not be willing to be a Girl Scout leader, but I was. So, everybody doing their own role. And if we can, I understand that if you have a headache, there's no way you want to be in the Quill Run Rotunda after school to be, a scout leader, but we need those scout leaders. Or you can't, if your knee hurts, you can't run around on the soccer field with your players that you're coaching. So our job is to help people get rid of those headaches, get rid of those problems with a knee, make it so that people can be, going to work, enjoying, their family and things, and doing what they do in our community that makes us so strong. So our part is to get them healthy and better as quickly as we can so that they can be doing the things that they do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about TherapyWorks and your role in the community over the years. When I think of TherapyWorks, I always just think of it as like, it just fits so neatly into Lawrence. It's one of those businesses. It's been around, it's going to be around, and they know what they're doing. And you've been here for a long time for a reason. And I think we've heard a lot about that reason tonight. So thanks so much for talking to us.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thanks.